Hi everyone. Today's Thursday, January the 16th. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. I'm not really sure why I started here in oil, but here we are. I'm looking at the daily chart, and it's come right into that 80 level that we had talked about several days past. It blew through it to 80.81, and now it is sitting back under 80. We have to look. Pullbacks are buy zones, and those buy zones might first start at 78, 77. It's heavy congestion here. I want you to pay attention to how price action behaves today. We do have the net gas report today. I'm not really sure it's going to affect us, but price action is clearly showing by the dip. Look at the momentum. It is absolutely extraordinary. We do know that this is news-based when we see this sort of behavior. If we take a look at the hourly chart, we can see from the oil chart, we can see that our resistance is currently 80.81. Our support is sitting at 78.87 with downward sloping moving averages and being underneath the slowest moving average that we're looking at. We've got a little bit of sideways motion. Our momentum indicators could show a bounce in continuation, so this is still buy the dip. If we can get it around 79, that would be a great buy zone. Stops probably 78.70 to 78.60, so you want to be very careful there. Target again up at 78.16, and then you can begin to trail your stop. All right, but that's what we're looking at for oil, that oil chart that we're staring down. Since we're here in the commodities, let's go to gold and have a peek at it. It broke out above 2,700 yesterday, and it is still currently holding in a wide range that has some upside drift. Okay, so resistance we've been talking about is 2740. Pullback action, notice we've got three topping formations, thereabouts. Pullback action could go to the very bottom of this range, down at 25.59. I don't know if it will. Momentum suggests that dips are still buys. Value area high looks like 26.96. That looks like a fairly good area, but we also have a resistance zone that could be support at 27.36. What is the ideal buy point for me? My thought is that if we can come down and hold this 26.75, we should have a buy zone there that could take us higher. I am still very bullish on gold. Keltner bands show clear upside pressure back into 2,800, but I would like to see a good dip that creates a nice buying zone. The dips have been very shallow, and so I prefer deeper dips to go long in gold. So as we take a gold chart on the 1 hour, we can see that we've got a topping formation at 2740. I still like that as a cheap short, 2740. The stop really could easily be just 2 points wide, 27.42. Right now, every dip is a buy zone, so the price action is moving into resistance with a really nice support zone intraday at 27.27. That would be where I would consider the long, with the stop really no more than 2 points below. Momentum has been very extended to the upside for quite a while, and so my suspicion is any blow-off tops coming up above that 27.40 should fail, and we can pull back into the VWAP as the target. Let's head over to the ES, the E-mini S&P 500. Let's take a look at the daily chart. We can see that we've got a little bit of cross action. We've got lower highs and lower lows, but we had a really sharp bounce 4 days ago on January the 13th, where we pulled into prior support at 58.22. What are we looking at now? Well, we've got to get up over the sellers. We can see that momentum has given us buy points on the deep dips. They're going to continue to do that, so look for the momentum, your stochastic momentum, to be fairly deep and also colliding with prior supports. And if you see the two of them together, you know that it's likely a bounce zone. Here's something important, why I want you not only to focus on divergence. Notice the low here on November the 19th. It gave us a number around 58.69. Notice the second time we came into that area, it had a much deeper momentum dip. And oftentimes people say, oh, you know what, that's negative divergence, it's going lower. Nay, nay. What you want to do is first look at price action, see where it's built support, and then realize that when stochastics get very shallow, like way down in this negative 60 area, or very high, way up in the positive 80s area, and that's because it's been bullish, we do see reflexive motions. And so we are working on a reflexive bounce that is still telling us dips are buy zones. What are those dips? I do like 59.50 to 59.40 as our clear buy zones. If per happenstance we break through 6,000 again, the next chart level will be 60.45. So what's the action event? Look for the pullbacks that hold buys. I like to wait on that 59.38 area. Maybe it comes to us, but then maybe it's 59.58. So we've got about a 20-point range where buyers could show up. Trend is overall negative on the tight time frames in terms of the 1 hour. But if we look at the bigger space, traders are still coming in on the deep buys. I like the buy zones at 59.30-ish. If we lose 59.24, we're going to step right back down into those lower edges. If you are interested in taking a short, I would say don't consider it until we get to above 60.30 and then look for price action down that brings you back into 59.30. And that might not come today. From an hourly perspective, you can see it looks very different. We've got a lot of bullish motion. Traders are very interested in holding prior supports. Now notice where we collided. We've got the jobless claims coming in just a little bit at 8:30, but we collided at 60.16. My thought is 60.35 and then 60.45 above, but we've got negative divergence, so we want to watch that 60.16. If it double tops and begins to fail, that's going to be a beautiful short that's going to bring us back down into 59.76 and potentially 59.58. Let's take a look at the NQ. Taking a look at the daily chart, the NQ following the same bit of the pattern, lower highs, lower lows, but lots of buying pressure on prior resistance zones that now look like support. We had a couple of days below on this 20,698, and ever since then we've been lifting higher, but momentum still looks like sellers are sitting above. From an ideal perspective here, because I do believe people are starting to listen to that narrative that says, hey, we're very overweighted, we've got to do some sector rotation, and so the Qs are sort of dribbling to the south. Now, we do have pullbacks looking like buy zones somewhere around 21,330. That looks really nice. If it loses that area, 21,170 gives us the next buy zone. I like selling the bounces up here, but they could be very high, coming all the way up to 21,770. Action event ideally is the strong dip, gives us the buy zone at around 21,170, and the targets up around 21,460 to 21,630. Trend clearly on the shorter time frames are saying buy the dip, but on the hourly time frame we do see that we've got negative divergence, so we've got to look for support to hold at these moving averages for things to look good for us, and I do think that's ideally what we're staring down. Here's the YM. Also, this one is a little bit weaker than all the others, but it is breaking the trend line down. Dips have been buys. This has had positive divergence. We're up over the range, My thought is above 43,580, we've got ourselves a long action that takes us potentially to 44,625. The problem is it's got to recover trend, and so this dip today tells me that the action item would be the buy at around 40,790. We could fade just a little bit and hold 43,105, and then we would target all the way up because there's nothing but a straight shot down of price action here. So this sideways pocket tells us that these bounces easily could be sell zones. So I also am looking for shorts that crest up and over for 43,580, but bring me into support at 42,400. That's my sweet spot. It is cross current to the relative trend on the tight time frames, so I have to wait for a double topping formation here in the hourly chart to tell me that I'm moving in the right direction. Right now, it's really very sideways underneath the VWAP, underneath these moving averages, and the Keltner is suggesting that we move down into 43,100. All right, so negative pressure, but getting into the space where buyers begin to try to defend. And so this is potentially what we look like for this sideways action here to come down into the support zone where we could easily end up buying. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Whoops. Bitcoin colliding with 100,001 again and selling off of that area. The trend line is holding fairly well for the lower highs. Take a look at them. They really are doing very, very nicely. We are seeing buyers come in from underneath, some positive divergence. I still believe we are sideways. I like the shorts that are coming in up at the 102,000. So let's get extended from these sideways moving averages and consider the short, or we get extended from those same sideways moving averages down here at 89,700 to consider the long action. If we do break 89,000, it is my suspicion that we head back to 80. Let's take a look at SPY. Levels here in SPY, very mixed, super sideways, very big range, trend line, lower highs and lower lows, but a pretty noisy patch. Momentum is sitting right in the midst, so that tells me deeper fades into, say, 583, going to be buy zones, bigger spikes, 602, going to be sell zones. That's what I'm looking for in general. Looking at the Qs. Qs also giving us lower highs, right? From that space, and lower lows. Look at how wide the Keltner band is. Momentum still drifting down, but this looks to be an area. Look at the volume and price action that came in on this space. This big volume candlestick is really the one I think the traders are looking for above 524 before they feel warm and cozy about buying. My suspicion is long action should be ideal around 505, potentially 510, with the move right back up into 524. Obey the stops though. If we lose these levels, the market is telling us something, and it's telling us that we're fleshing out lower areas below. All right, everyone. Good luck. See you on the stream. Sorry about that froggy voice that I have. Just trying to get over a little bug. All right. See you soon.